Have you ever wondered how the body stores the excess glucose and keeps it ready for use during fasting, exercise, or stress? The answer lies in a fascinating metabolic pathway called as glycogenesis. In this video, we will break down the glycogenesis into three simple and easy to understand steps. So let's begin. Before the glucose can be added to a growing glycogen chain, it must be first activated. So, the first step is glucose activation. As shown in this figure, the glycogen synthesis and glycogen degradation they occur through distinct pathways that prevents the futile cycling where the cell would otherwise waste the energy by simultaneously building and breaking down the glycogen. The first committed step in the glycogen synthesis is glucose activation. Here, glucose 1 phosphate combines with UTP in a substrate coupling reaction catalyzed by the enzyme UDP-glucose pyrophosphorylase. This reaction generates the UDP-glucose, which is the activated form of glucose, along with inorganic phosphate or PPI. The rapid hydrolysis of the inorganic phosphate helps to drive the reaction forward, making it energetically favorable and essentially irreversible in the cell. Then, what is the purpose of UDP glucose? The UDP glucose acts as a loaded glucose carrier, a high energy glucose donor that is now ready to transfer its glucose unit onto a growing glycogen molecule in subsequent steps. This activation step is crucial because it transforms a relatively unreactive glucose molecule into a form that can efficiently participate in the glycogen synthesis. This ensures that the glucose storage is tightly regulated, energy efficient, and responsive to the metabolic needs of the body. Now that glucose has been activated as the UDP glucose, the next challenge is building the glycogen molecule itself. And this is where the glycogen elongation begins. However, glycogen synthase, the key enzyme responsible for the glycogen chain growth, it faces an important limitation. It cannot start a glycogen molecule from nothing. Instead, it requires a pre-existing primer known as glycogenin. As shown in the picture, glycogenin is a dimeric protein that first autocatalytically attaches the glucose residues to itself, and it creates a short chain of about 7 glucose units on each monomer. Think of glycogenin as the foundation of a building. It provides the starting platform upon which the entire glycogen granule will be constructed. Once the glycogen primer is established, glycogen synthase takes over. Using the UDP glucose as the activated glucose donor, the enzyme transfers glucose residues one at a time to the non-reducing ends of the growing glycogen chain. During each transfer, UDP is released as a byproduct, while a new alpha 1,4 glycosidic bond is formed between the glucose molecules. This reaction extends the glycogen chain in a linear fashion, producing longer and longer polymers. It is important to note that the glycogen synthase can only create alpha 1,4 linkages and therefore generates straight chains. Branch formation requires a separate enzyme that we will discuss later. Overall, the reaction can be summarized as glycogen plus UDP glucose gives glycogen N plus 1, that is glycogen N glucose units plus 1 glucose unit added plus UDP. This step allows the cells to efficiently store the glucose as glycogen, ensuring a readily available energy reserve that can be rapidly mobilized whenever the body's metabolic demands increase. So far, we have seen only the linear chains have been synthesized. If the glycogen were composed of only long straight chains, it would be inefficient both to synthesize and to break down. So, the nature solves this problem through branching. As shown in this picture, branching does not begin immediately. The glycogen chain must first be elongated to approximately 11 to 12 glucose residues. Once the chain reaches this critical length, the branching enzyme, also known as amylotransglucosidase, comes into action. This enzyme cleaves a block of about 6 to 8 glucose residues from the non-reducing end of the growing chain and transfers that segment to a more internal glucose residue. The transferred segment is then attached through an alpha 1,6 glycosidic linkage, creating a new branch point. This creation of these alpha 1,6 linkages transform the glycogen from a simple linear polymer structure into a highly branched tree-like structure. But why is this branching so important? First, every new branch generates an additional non-reducing end, providing more sites where the glycogen synthase can simultaneously add the glucose residues. This dramatically accelerates the glycogen synthesis, especially after a carbohydrate-rich meal when the glucose needs to be stored rapidly. Second, branching creates a compact globular structure, allowing thousands of glucose molecules to be packed efficiently into small cellular space. Equally important, these numerous branch ends later serve as multiple access points for the glycogen breakdown, thus enabling the rapid glucose release during fasting or exercise. Therefore, the glycogen branching is not merely a structural modification, it is a crucial adaptation that enhances both the speed and efficiency of the glycogen metabolism. This ensures that the glucose can be stored densely and mobilized quickly whenever the body requires energy. The next video will be on glycogenolysis, the link of which will be present in the comment section or in the description. If you have understood this topic, do like the video and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next one.